Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to Anselmo Academy of Music and the Arts, and we are live on Facebook. And greetings from New York City. We continue to feature many competition winners from Anselmo Academy International Competition that took place, in the last many years. And today we are featuring all first prize winners during our past and present competitions. Please help me welcome three young, very talented musicians. Guest number one is Zachary Guo, piano. Zachary, say hello.
Hi,
Welcome. Guest
thank
number
you.
guest number two is Joanna Peters, violin. Hi, Joanna.
Hello.
Hi, welcome. And guest number three is Nathan Chi, piano. Welcome, Nathan.
Hello.
I wanted to read a couple of interesting details about each one. So Zachary is a young artist, a student of Dr. Jiayin Lee and Professor Solomon Mikovsky of the Manhattan School of Music Pre-College. He started piano with Miss Lu Yi and continued with Miss Tama Blackstone for 5 years. He had periodically had master classes with Mr. Hong Kong Chen. And a few words about next guest, Joanna. Joanna Peters is a rising senior at Randolph High School in New Jersey. She has been playing the violin for 13 years and currently studies with Kolb Jiang. She has lived in New Jersey her whole life and began playing the violin in 2009 with Amy Morrow Bryant. And Nathan Chi, born in Ottawa, Ontario, Canada. Nathan began piano lessons at the age of 6, and he was admitted to the prep division of the Mannes College of Music at age 15 in New York City and into the honors program the following year. He received his Master of Music in Piano Performance at the Manhattan School of Music in May 2022 as a pupil of Alexander Matushkin. Okay, wonderful. A few words about Anselmo Academy of Music and the Arts. We have started our 22nd year. Our fiscal year begins on July 1st, so we have started our preparations for the upcoming school year. And our most, signature programs throughout our history have been our outreach type programs that we establish in multiple school sites throughout New York metropolitan area and also New Jersey. And these are group classes for many kids from pre-K through high school, where they can take classes in piano, in guitar, in violin, in voice, musical theater, and acting, and many more. All right, we have some events coming up that I'd like to share with you all. We have an online masterclass in early August with Dr. Michael Birkowski and Nathan Chi, who is our guest here today. So you'll learn a lot more about Nathan. And we'll post more details about the upcoming masterclass a little bit later on. Our August broadcast, the same kind of broadcast that we do monthly and that you're watching today, will actually be dedicated to chamber music as we feature Trinity Trio. These are young musicians who won first prize in our chamber music category at Anselmo Youth International Competition. So we decided to invite them, three of them back, and they'll be sharing with us their story and their passion for chamber music. Our summer enrollment is on. We continue to have flexible enrollment in the summer private lessons for anyone interested through Labor Days when summer semester ends. And our fall semester has begun its registration this month with various offerings in all musical instruments in theater. And we are actively connecting with multiple school sites throughout New York and New Jersey to organize our to implement our group class programs. Okay, that's about it. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel, follow us on Facebook, TikTok, and other social media platforms. Please do subscribe to our online newsletters. We have two newsletters that you can find on our homepage at our website, anselmoacademy.org. And first newsletter is academic newsletter that comes out in the beginning of each month, and then our second newsletter is called On Stage, that comes out toward the middle or a third week of each month, and you'll stay tuned this way with all our happenings. Okay, we hope you enjoy our program today, and we're moving on to our guest number one, Zachary Guo. Can we please have Zachary's picture? Thank you. You're ahead of me. All right, great. I'm going to continue listing Zachary's accolades. So Zach is a young artist of the Artemisia Academy at Yale University School of Music. He is the 2022 winner of Manhattan School of Music Pre-College Piano Concerto Competition. He is winner of multiple awards and competitions, and I'm just going to list a few. He is third prize winner in 2019 International Gershwin Piano Competition, second prize in 2021 Piano Teachers Congress of New York competition, and first prize in the 2017 American Protege Piano Competition, among many others. And of course, he is first prize winner at Anselmo Youth Competition. As a solo pianist, Zachary has performed at multiple international festivals. He has performed at Mozarteum Summer Piano Academy in Austria, Wederowski Piano Academy in Poland, Académie Internationale in Nice, France, and Perugia Piano Festival in Italy. He has taken multiple master classes with well-known, renowned pedagogues such as Vida Kaplinsky, Jerome Lowenthal, Pavlina Dakovska, Ilana Vired, and Ursula Opens, among many others. And as a solo pianist, he has performed with many orchestras. He performed Mozart Piano Concerto number 23, Beethoven Concerto number 1, Greek Concerto Opus 16, that you're going to hear a little bit later today, with the Torrent Symphony Orchestra in Poland, as well as Chopin Concerto number 2 with the Orchestra del Musikfest, Perugia. And he'll be playing Saint-Saëns number 5 in F major with the Manhattan School of Music Pre-College Symphony Orchestra in the coming season. Zachary is also a cellist, and he was a cellist of the string trio group in Stanford Music and Arts Academy. He has won first prize in the 2017 American Protege String Competition and second prize in 2017 Rondo Young Artists Festival String Competition, and performed at Weill Hall of Carnegie Hall as both pianist and cellist. And now we're going to feature Zachary's performance of Albéniz El Puerto from Book 1. Take a look. Wonderful. Moving on for now to Joanna Peters. Can we please have her picture on the screen as I continue reading her accolades? Beautiful. Joanna participated in various master classes, such as with violinist Rachel Barton Pine in 2018, violinist Jaewon Kim in 2022, and with the Harlem Quartet in 2022. She attended the 2022 Baroque Performance Institute at Oberlin Conservatory, and we're going to play a little bit of that excerpt later on. She also participated in the ASTA New Jersey Chamber Music Institute at Rutgers in 2018 and the 2017 Summa Cum Laude Youth Music Festival in Vienna. In 2018, she was the concertmeister of the New Jersey Music Educators Association, and in 2017, I lost my place 1 second. She was the first prize winner in the 2022 American Protégé Concerto Competition and first place in 2022 Anselmo International Youth Music Competition. This will be her 8th year as part of New Jersey Youth Symphony. Joanna has been concertmeister of the NJYS Youth Symphony for its 2021-22 season and has previously been concertmeister of the New Jersey Youth Symphonia, Philharmonia, and Youth Orchestra. She is also a part of the Clara Manus Scholars Program at Manus Prep, which is a new name of the honors program. And she is a volunteer violin teacher through Love Violin for Children USA program. Wonderful. And we're going now play Joanna's performance of Bach Sarabande from Partita number 2 in D minor. Take a listen. Beautiful, thank you. Okay, next, more accolades for Nathan Chi. He's a two-time Young Artist Laureate. Can we please have Nathan's picture? Yes, thank you. He has performed across the United States and Europe As a recitalist, concerto soloist, and chamber musician, he has appeared on the stages of Carnegie Hall, Merkin Hall, Baryshnikov Art Center, New York Steinway Hall, Teatro de Giazzo, among many others. His triumph in the 6th Miami Music Festival piano competition led to his appearance with the MMF Symphony Orchestra in July 2018, performing Liszt E-flat Major Piano Concerto under the baton of Maestro Grant Harville. Nathan has won top prizes at the MTNA LISMA International Music Competition, Piano Arts Wisconsin Youth Competition, Rondo Vanguard Festival, and Madison Symphony Youth Competition. He has performed in master classes with various well-established, renowned pedagogues such as Alexander Kobrin, Antonio Pompobaldi, Boris Slutsky, Eterian Japaridze, Jerome Rose, and Matti Riacalio, among many others. He has participated in International Keyboard Institute and Festival, International Institute for Young Musicians, Walnut Hills Summer Music Festival, Chamber Music Center of New York Summer Program, Miami Summer Music Festival, the Joseph Ginhol Chamber Music Festival, as well as Music Alp. And now we're going to have Nathan's perform Liszt Sonata in B minor. Take a look. Wonderful. Congratulations to all three of you. We're now moving on to the dialogue part of our broadcast. We have asked each guest to provide questions and topics they'd like to discuss. And so here we go. How do you prepare for a performance? What are some of the ways you deal with performance anxiety? Zachary.
Yes, so preparing for performance, I mean, for me, there's first, I mean, obviously a lot of practice. So, and then you need to get, I feel like for me, there's like a mental state. So you need to start to mentally prepare as well as physically practice. Um, and then that always works out for me. And for like performance anxiety, personally, I don't think that I have too much anxiety normally. Sometimes the anxiety is more before the performance, but the day of the performance and when I'm on stage, normally I feel pretty calm, um, because I feel like before I've prepared myself enough. So then when I'm at the point of performance, um, I believe that I've prepared myself and that there's nothing more I can do. So then that kind of gets me to calm down a little bit. Um, and then before performing, I normally like to listen to some recordings, some of my favorite recordings of whatever piece I'm playing, because just to like refresh. Because normally I deal with memory issues, not during performance, but while I'm practicing, and I just don't feel the least confident I feel is about my the memorization of the pieces. So then I like to touch on that by listening to some recordings. Um, and then normally before going on stage to help with that as well, I mentally practice through the pieces I'm playing, or if I don't have time for that, then I'll target some sections that I don't feel as confident playing. Um, and yeah, I think that's basically it.
Sounds great. Thank you. Joanna.
Similarly for me, I like to listen to music before the performance. So, like, if there's a long drive, I like to turn on the radio, and it should probably be classical music because I feel like any other type of music kind of distracts me. But if it's the actual piece that I'm playing or any kind of classical music, I find that it helps me to calm down. Um, and then right before I got on stage, I tend to tense up a lot. And I think that just breathing in and out deeply helps me. Um, and that also helps me during a performance because obviously, when you get nervous, you tend to rush. But if you just take a step back and breathe, it definitely helps you to just recollect your thoughts. Um, and also, I try to ignore the audience because if I pretend that they're not there, then it's easier for me because it feels like I'm just playing with the pianist or with just by myself.
Wonderful. Nathan.
Performance anxiety is something I have confronted throughout my life as a musician, as a performer, and as for how I prepare and how I deal with it, there are many different ways. But I'd say the best way to deal with performance anxiety is obviously to be well prepared. And how do you prepare? Obviously, there is lots of practicing involved, but not just practicing any old way. Obviously, it is important that one practices in a way that is effective and efficient. That is to say, not just repeating oneself 10 times, 20 times this passage, or just playing through the entire piece or movement or 10, 20 times, but rather to be working in detail from the very beginning. I find that it's very important that one has a very good sense, a very good musical sense of the piece, of the character, of the style from the very beginning. Not just, oh, first we learn the notes, then we learn the dynamics, then we just end up with a lot of bad habits. Rather, it's important that one has a very strong musical concept of the piece or the movement from the very beginning. And then when one practices, one works in detail, one pays attention to sound quality, one pays attention to everything, including relaxation, including tone quality, tonal beauty, having the right sound, having the right character, being in the character of the piece, not just simply sitting there or just going through the motions. And this, I believe that performance anxiety isn't necessarily something to be feared. I myself have had many instances where I have been in the zone in which my excitement, a better term would be excitement, actually helped me and actually helped me to express better. I felt that I was completely in the zone, completely at one with the music, and afterwards the audience comes up and shows how moved they were because it was because I was there to convey the message. And so I think it's just a two-pronged strategy. One has to be very well prepared, and number two, one has to see performances as anxiety not necessarily as something to be eliminated, something to be cured of, but rather what could be used to one's benefit. Because I've had many instances where performance anxiety or excitement I'd rather call it, has worked in my favor, has helped me to become more expressive on stage than I ever was in the practice room. So I think that it's performance anxiety or excitement can be a good thing or a bad thing, and if you learn to use it, it can be a very powerful weapon to help you become more charismatic, help your performance become much more musically alive, colorful, and interesting in front of the public than in the practice room. Obviously, if you don't know how to manage it, then it can definitely get out of hand. It can allow your performance to become too loud, too fast, or too harsh, or just out of control in many different ways. That is not what we want. So I believe that the best way to tackle it simply just to prepare by working in good detail, practicing obviously every day, practicing for many hours, but also just to be very attentive to musical detail, to relaxation, to sound quality.
Sounds great. Thank you so much. Okay, next question. Proudest musical accomplishment. Joanna, change the order a little bit.
So I do have a lot of proud accomplishments, but I'd say the most memorable for me is the Summa Cum Laude festival that you briefly talked about in the intro. And it, although it wasn't necessarily like an individual accomplishment because I did go there with an orchestra, and we all played together, I found that it was the first time where I was truly immersed in the world of music because we played all day, we did concerts at the end of the day, and we worked with other orchestras in Vienna. So I learned a lot from the people around me as well as just being able to perform in many different halls like the Musikverein. It's a beautiful hall and it is just amazing to play in. So I would say that is definitely my most memorable accomplishment.
Wonderful. Zachary.
Yeah, so in terms of the most proud musical achievement, I guess it would have to be some of my orchestra performances, I think. Um, I think that experience of playing with an orchestra is completely different from being with just yourself or even chamber music, because it requires, I think, much more of your own attention to detail. Like you can't really go off on your own sometimes, and then you have to take in consideration the other instruments in the room, and then any little unbalance will just ruin the entire piece. So I feel like my performances with orchestra are probably my most proud achievement. Yeah.
Great, thank you. Nathan.
So I've had many proud musical moments in my life, and I'd say I would tend to agree with Zachary. Yeah, my proudest musical accomplishments were, say, the instances where I got to perform with the orchestra. I've had a total of two times throughout my career. The first time when I was 15 years old, playing with members of the Milwaukee Symphony Orchestra in the final round of the Piano Arts with Wisconsin Youth Concerto Competition, and also a couple years later when I was playing the Liszt Concerto No. 1 with the Miami Music Symphony Orchestra after winning the concerto competition. That is one of the performances I'm the most proud of. The day of the performance, I played through a couple excerpts of the concerto, but not through the entire piece. But although I initially felt a little bit, unadjusted, but as I went on throughout the first movement and into the second movement, I became more and more at one with the music. And by the second movement, I was completely immersed in the music. And I believe that was one of the instances I'd say where my excitement on stage worked in my favor, helping me to give a performance that was much more alive and charismatic than what I had done in the practice room or even during the competition. And so obviously I've had also a couple other proud moments, including performing at Weill Hall at Carnegie Hall, as well as at the Baryshnikov Art Center when I was a laureate, a prize winner of the Young Arts in April 2016. So yes, I've had many proud moments throughout my career.
Wonderful, thank you. Okay, I'm gonna pick next question. So, do you have favorite performers, artists? Who are they, and what you like most about them? Zachary.
Sure. For performers that I like, I think for me personally, two names really come to mind. And obviously there's many more that I really enjoy and I've listened to. I've heard many performers live. Actually, I've had the privilege of hearing But I think two that I really like, and these are for specific composers. I feel like for Beethoven, I like Daniel Barenboim. I feel like his interpretations, they're very clear, and I like his composure and his control over the phrases and then just every single note. And that's something that I try to strive towards when I play Beethoven. I really just like, I feel like the composure and then the calmness. And then for Chopin and Rachmaninoff, who are my probably two favorite composers, I feel like Christian Zimmerman is a great pianist. I love his technicality is great. His passion and expressiveness is very good. Especially I feel like in Rachmaninoff, who is a very passionate composer. His music is very heartfelt, I feel like, and I think Zimmerman does that beautifully. And yeah, he brings out just the passion and the strength.
Sounds great. Thank you. Nathan, you go next.
I have numerous favorite artists. I agree with Zachary about Christian Zimmerman. He's truly one of my favorite pianists, especially when it comes to the music of Chopin as well as Liszt. In addition to Beethoven, I absolutely adore his recordings of the five Beethoven Piano Concerto. They are just out of this world. They're just unsurpassable, just amazing. And to think that he was only in his 30s when he made those recordings, that was truly incredible. And at that age, in his 30s, he could already compete with or even surpass much older artists such as Horowitz or Rubinstein, and that says volume about who he is as an artist. He is truly amazing pianist, and I also adore many other pianists, including Murray Pariah. I love his Mozart. His has a very beautiful, clean sound for the music of Wolfgang Amadeus Mozart. I also enjoy Vladimir Horowitz. His performances of the Romantic era are truly incredible, and I was especially inspired by his performance of the Liszt Sonata, where he had such a wide tonal range. He had such a wide tonal range and such rare expressivity and fire. I enjoy the music, also with the performances of Maria João Pires, who was a slightly lesser known pianist. And there's just so many other pianists I also adore and respect, including my own professor Alexander Ratutskin, whose performances are truly charismatic. He's always serves as an inspiration for me to improve upon myself, to play with passion, to play with fire, to become one with the music. And so, yes, I have just countless artists I adore.
Wonderful. Thank you. Joanna.
So I also have many favorite performers, but I would say my two that come to mind are Augustin Haralik and Shunsuke Sato. So Augustin Haralik, he is a violinist, and there's something about his playing that is just so moving and inspiring, and I can definitely say that his playing is just has a very honest and human sound, which is something that I really like because it just draws me into his performances. And he has a YouTube channel where he gives a lot of advice about violin playing. So I love watching his expertise, even though he can't, give hour lessons to us in his only 5 minutes. I really enjoy seeing his thought process when he's practicing. And then Shunsuke Sato, he is both a classical and Baroque violinist, but he is best known for his Baroque violin performances. I don't know if you've ever seen the Netherlands Bach Society on YouTube, but he is part of that. And I really love early music, and his performances are just full of life and really moving to me. And even though I do play the modern violin, I can take inspiration from what he does on the Baroque violin and apply it to my own playing. So I really like those two violinists.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, guys. Okay, next question. With inclusivity in terms of the pieces and composers becoming an increasingly important aspect of music, how does this contribute to your experiences as a musician? Let's start with Joanna.
So I definitely think that because, especially I find that in orchestra, we are trying to play more diverse composers. So that has made me, in turn, more open-minded, and I find myself going out of my way to search for different composers and for new pieces other than just the standard repertoire, which we all know. So, for example, I last year with my string quartet, I played the Florence Price's Five Folk Songs and Counterpoint, which is Florence Price is a African American woman composer who her music is just really beautiful, and I wouldn't have discovered it if it wasn't for the fact that my orchestra is trying to expose us to more composers than just the ones that we know. So that's how it has affected me.
Wonderful, thank you. Zachary, you go next.
So I feel like in terms of inclusivity, definitely I felt the effects of this. And I think that is very important because before, I think maybe in the past 3 years, I've started to diversify my repertoire. But before that, it was mainly just the standard Baroque and classical and romantic. So like Bach and Beethoven and Chopin, which obviously are amazing composers, but I feel like sometimes just exploring a little bit out of curiosity or just pieces that my teacher has have given me, it's really expanded my outlook onto music and then even the world. I feel like so recently I've actually been playing more 20th and 21st century music, and it's something that maybe lesser known, but I feel, to me personally, I've actually had a pretty big appeal to this because I feel like it's really interesting and it's almost refreshing to me because nowadays a lot of people are playing the same pieces and it's a little break from that, and it is great music to listen to and to play. So yeah.
Wonderful, thank you. Nathan.
So yes, similar to Zachary, in the last couple of years, I've been diversifying my repertoire, and this has contributed significantly to my development as a musician. This has made me a lot more open-minded, and throughout this process, I've discovered so much wonderful music that is not as commonly played. I've incorporated music from many living composers and lesser-known composers into my repertoire, including Art Tatum, including Philip Schürrle, and Eric Ewason, Stephen Cohen, and so forth. And these opportunities have all given me the chance to explore of repertoire written in different styles. And they may be written in a different, let's say, music of Bach, music of Chopin, music of Mozart. But I believe that diversifying our repertoire, playing music by lesser-known composers and by living composers, I believe that this is what will help us classical musicians become more relevant. We all know that we live in an age where a lot of people are concerned about the state of classical music, what about relevancy. But as classical musicians, I believe it's more important than ever that we diversify our repertoire by learning so much music that is just amazingly written, but it's just so not played as often as the standard rep. And I'm very happy to have had opportunities to explore all these composers that I just talked about, and it's just truly amazing opportunity.
Wonderful, thank you. Okay, next question. With our lives becoming more busy and chaotic than ever, how do you slow down and find motivation to practice and play music? Zachary.
Um, Personally, sometimes I feel like especially recently, with what's going on in the world, obviously, and then also my own schoolwork. I'm in high school, uh, and I'm going to my junior year. So this is, I think, going to be the busiest part of high school. Sometimes I am very overwhelmed because schoolwork, it just takes too much time, or I don't have time to practice because of that. And especially, I think, during the spring. But sometimes I will take a break from that. So sometimes I will put my work to the side. Normally, I prioritize doing my work first, but sometimes I will just practice because I feel like I need to. And then also, music to me is almost like a comfort. So sometimes if I'm super overwhelmed, I'll just sit down and not actually practice for super long or super rigorously, but I'll sit down and play a piece that I enjoy playing. maybe that I've played in the past or that I've heard and that I enjoy listening to, and I'll sight read it and just for a little bit, and then normally that will help me. I feel to relax a little bit, calm down, um, and then that also gives me some motivation afterwards to practice whatever pieces that I'm currently working on. And I think this is really important because especially if you're feeling really overwhelmed, you often just don't want to practice. So I think there should be a balance between working and then practicing and then also just enjoying music.
Wonderful, thank you. Okay, Nathan, you go next.
I've been a music major for the past 6 years, so obviously for me, music is a priority aside from the classes. And so as for how I find time to practice, I always make sure to set aside daily 2 to 4 hours just to accomplish what I need to accomplish. Uh, and for me, music main priority for since I was 10 years old. So obviously I would always make time to practice each day. Like practicing time in the last day has from 2 hours a day to sometimes up to 7 hours a day. And so, but obviously my love for music and my passion for music that and my desire to improve myself and my desire to become a better pianist, a better musician, that is what ultimately drives me to sing. How I because it's our passion as musicians that drives us to practice that allow us to find enough time each day to practice despite our busy schedules. And obviously I know that we musicians, especially students, from the fact that our modern lives are chaotic, they're filled with commuting, they're filled with answering phone. I think it's our passion for music that drives us to practice.
Thank you. Just wanted to mention, Nathan, the Wi-Fi on your end is a little bit goes in and out. If there is anything you can do, just for the last few minutes, it's been acting out a little bit, just so that you know.
I have actually received notifications too that my Wi-Fi is
Okay.
unstable, which is strange because usually this is very stable.
Yes. Okay, Joanna.
So I'm also in high school, so I have a lot of AP tests and exams and schoolwork. So sometimes I get stressed out and I just don't know how to balance it. But I just have to remember that music is my passion and I need to put my 100% into it. So um, even though I do want to get the good grades, obviously, I still have to put my energy where my priorities are. So, and I also find that music is a distraction for me from the chaotic life that I have. So, um, it helps me to center myself and to just get my mind back in order.
Wonderful. All right. And the last question. Where do you see yourself in 5 years? Zachary.
So personally, I love music and it's one of my passions. I've loved this since I was very young. But for me, I don't feel like my career would be music. So I think in 5 years, I'll be in uh, probably be in university, and I feel like my plan is to study my interests. So like I'm very interested in computer science. I've been doing some work for that, and then also finance and economics, business, that sort of thing. Um, I'm really interested in those two general areas of study, and I intend on keeping music on the side. So I think in 5 years, most likely I'll be studying one of those two, or maybe even both. And then with music on the side, so I'll continue to study with a teacher privately, maybe, or at a music school in college. So yeah, but I don't see as of right now me pursuing like a performance career. Um, but I mean, it can all change.
Definitely. Okay, great. Joanna.
So in 5 years, I also see myself at university, and I hope, well, I am applying to music schools to be a violin performance major. So hopefully I can do my undergrad and then my graduate studies as well in music. So and just in general being immersed in the world of music. So getting orchestra jobs or playing gigs and anything like that. Just playing the violin all the time.
Wonderful. Nathan.
So I see myself doing some teaching work in 5 years, helping share my passion for music with young people, and I've had several opportunities to do that as a private piano teacher, and I hope to continue doing that, perhaps in a school or so. And I'm just excited about having the opportunity to share this very wonderful thing we call music with young people, with children, with teens, and whatever their age may be. And it's just something I'm just super excited about.
Wonderful. Well, thank you guys. It was really delightful for me to hear your mind and heart sharing with all of us, and thank you so much. Okay, we are now going back to Zachary. We're going to talk to Zachary about his life as a musician currently. So tell us a little bit about the program at Yale you are attending. Can you share a little more detail?
Yes. So actually, this is a program by my previous piano teacher, Tema Blackstone, and her husband, Hong Kwan Chen, who teach at the Juilliard School. And this is it's a monthly thing at Yale University on campus. I think with some faculty and at the location of the Yale Music School. I think with Dean Blocker, and I'm not sure. I actually haven't attended it in quite a while, but when I did, it was a great experience. So there would be lectures, master classes, and just general experience bonding with your peers. So there's lots of other students. I think mainly of their students from the Juilliard Pre-College, and then it's just a great time to spend time with music and with each other at Yale.
Wonderful. Next, tell us about your experiences by attending Mozarteum, the Paderewski, the international part of your journey. What do you think you gained the most from attending those places of music education, not in U.S.?
Sure, yeah. So, I mean, at all of those programs, I had great opportunities to study with lots of very, very prestigious faculty who may not teach in the U.S. I don't think, and it was a great experience overall because at those festivals I had lots of opportunity for master classes, private lessons, and for performance, both me performing and also viewing other performances, which really was just exposed me to a new level of music that I'd never seen before. And also, I feel like the culture in Europe in those places, it's extremely different from just Connecticut. Like it's almost a totally different world. Just from like looking at it in Europe, the architecture. I feel like the people there also do appreciate classical music more than around here. Personally, in my experience growing up, I had no friends who listened to classical music or even knew anything about it. But in Europe, I feel like many people, they're open-minded to it or they already are a big fan. And that was just a great experience for me to understand what the rest of the world is like, especially when it comes to classical music.
Most definitely. Fantastic answer. Okay, tell us a little bit about you as a cellist.
Cello was something that I saw, I think, since I was young, but I think what really drove me to want to learn, I think 2013 or so, I was at Learn Music Festival in Italy, and I saw Misha Maisky, the famous cellist, and I was just inspired by that. And then I just I got home and then I just begged my mom to let me start playing cello. And I did learn for a few years, I think 5 or 6 years. But then 2 or 3 years ago, I did have to quit because I was running out of time because of piano and then other stuff. Like, but cello is still something that I enjoy listening to, and occasionally I will pick it up and practice a little bit. But obviously, I haven't had a lesson in quite a while, so.
That's great. Yeah, wonderful. And another question. So you already touched a little bit on the subject, playing with orchestra. But tell us, because some kids obviously maybe didn't yet have an opportunity to perform with orchestra, what do you think is the most important tool that I guess you've learned? What's the knowledge you've gained from playing the orchestra that you didn't have before? What do you think?
Um, Playing with the orchestra, I guess it's helped me to understand how musicians can work in a team, especially since before that I was always playing solo, and I like my first time playing with the orchestra, I didn't understand that I had to basically signal what I was doing to the conductor, or I would have to adjust how I was playing based on if the orchestra was speeding up, or they were slowing down a little bit, or if they were changing dynamics or something. And then also just the experience of discussing with the conductor like a plan for how you want to play the piece, um, including like just a guideline of, oh, this section we might want to change what you're doing. And before that, I would just listen to my teacher or have my own ideas of how to play the piece. But then when I was playing with the orchestra, there's another input of the conductor, and then we have to adjust all of that. And then it was just a great experience for me to understand, I guess, how a team in music would work.
Wonderful. We're now going to go to Zachary's picture gallery. Our staff, Josh, is going to share your pictures, and you can just tell us about each picture as we go along.
Great. So this picture was me many, many years ago on the Stern Perlman Hall and Carnegie Hall, the biggest one. And this opportunity for me to, to run on the stage came from my sister, who is part of the who was part of the Long Long Foundation, and that year they had an opportunity to perform in Carnegie Hall, and they were all backstage, and then I saw the door to this stage that was open, and I'd previously attended many concerts in that hall, so I was very familiar with it. And I just ran onto the stage, and I wanted to take a picture. And yeah, that's how this one happened.
It's a great shot. Okay, next.
Okay, so this is my piano competition, the concerto competition at Manhattan School of Music that I won this year. This was in December in the Greenfield Hall at Manhattan School of Music. And I'm playing with a accompanist, Guang Shou, and he's a good friend of my teacher. And this is just a great experience overall, playing in the hall and my rehearsals with him. He was a great collaborative pianist and just a great mentor too. And yeah, this is the day of the competition.
Great. Next. Ooh.
Okay, so this is after my solo recital at Manhattan School of Music at the Mikowski Recital Hall. And on the right is Dr. Solomon Mikowski, who the hall is named after. And on the left is my current teacher, Ms. Jiaying Li. And Dr. Mikowski is who I originally studied with when I started at Manhattan School of Music pre-college in, I think, 2 years ago. But he did retire, so I started studying with Dr. Lee, who is a student of his. But I am still in contact with Dr. Mikowski, and he frequently attends various events that I'm performing at, or he will often check in on how I'm doing. And yeah, this is after the recital.
Great. Next picture.
So this is me many years ago. Also, I think it might have been the same day as the Carnegie Hall picture. But this is with famous pianist Long Long, who my sister was part of his foundation. And I actually don't quite remember where this was, but I know there was an event with the foundation, and Long Long was there to meet them, and I was tagging along with my sister, so and I was a big fan, so I had to take a picture with him.
Of course. Looks great. Next.
Okay, so this is one of my performances with orchestra. I believe this is the second one with this is a Beethoven First Concerto. This is in Poland, and then at the Paderewski Music Academy, they have a festival, week-long festival where you come with a concerto, and you have various master classes, rehearsal with orchestra for a week, and then there's a final performance. I think this was the dress rehearsal for me, and this is what I was talking about earlier. Also, like the communication with the conductor. Like right here, we're making eye contact and then signaling to each other, like when I'm gonna start the next section or when I'm gonna end on a note or something. And yeah, this is with the Turin Symphony Orchestra.
Wonderful. Great shot. Next.
Oh, so this is also a Paderewski piano festival, and this is with one year I went there. Two teachers I had. I believe it was my first year, so it would be with my Mozart. I was playing Mozart number 23 concerto, and on the left is Professor Gurske from. I believe he teaches at Hanover, and on the left is Professor Sokole, and they're some of the first European teachers that I had ever studied, taken lessons from, and they are just huge inspiration to me. And yeah, this is a very nice memory I have.
Beautiful. You look very happy. Next.
Okay, so this was last year at Perugia Music Fest in Perugia, Italy, and this is in the concert hall, and I was playing in one of the concerts. So they have various solo artists play around 10 minutes worth of repertoire, and then it's like a showcase almost of different pianists. And this was just trying out the piano, so I had my music on the stand and just playing through a little bit before the performance.
All grown up here. Yes.
Yeah.
Next.
Okay, so this is my first year at the Paderewski Music Festival or Academy, and I am playing. I think this is the first year. So Mozart 23 with the orchestra, and this is like the rehearsal hall. So, and the Bidigush School of Music, I believe, they have a hall, and every day there you would have rehearsal with the orchestra and a lesson with your teacher. So this is one of those, and yeah, this is just rehearsing with the orchestra was just probably one of the biggest milestones of my career.
Great. Next picture.
So yeah, this is the same rehearsal with Professor Sokla and the conductor, and so the teacher would attend the rehearsal with the orchestra, and then in the afternoon you'd have a lesson with them. So this was in the rehearsal in the morning, I think, and then the teacher would come, and after the rehearsal he would listen to the rehearsal, give me some notes, and then we'll rehearse again, we'll play again, and then yeah. So this is just him giving me some advice, and they're talking to the conductor, just a discussion about the music.
Wonderful. Very good picture. Oh, you as a cellist. Yay.
Yeah, so this is me as a cellist, and that is my sister in the background, who's a pianist, a very good pianist. She's professional and she's also a singer too. And this was at Octavian Studio in New York, and I believe this is a recording for some competition, but it's just she was playing the accompaniment for me, and yeah, this is my first time ever recording cello, and it was just a great time, especially working with my sister, who's a great collaborative pianist, a great sister too.
Oh, that's great. Wonderful. Okay, next. Was this last picture?
I can't see it.
Oh, that's it. Okay,
Okay.
great. So we're going to now play another video with Zachary, which is his Greek concerto, Opus 16. Take a listen. Wonderful. Lovely meeting you, Zachary. All right, thank you so much for participating. We're moving
Thank
on
you.
to, yes, absolutely, to Joanna. All right, Joanna, so first question, was the violin your first choice and why?
So yeah, it was my first choice. My mom took me to a observable violin lesson, and I don't exactly remember why I wanted to start because I think I was around 4, but I remember I just really wanted to learn, so that's how that all started. So yeah, that was definitely my first choice.
Are there any musicians in your family?
So my mom, she did grow up playing the piano. She doesn't play that much anymore, but she does play piano. And my sister is also, she's in college now, but she also plays the violin as well.
Oh my goodness, so two violinists in the
Yeah.
family. Incredible. Okay, so a similar question to you as with Zachary. Tell us about the various festivals you attended, especially maybe those abroad, and the influence that you think that the impact, I should say, that it created for you.
So the Summa Cum Laude Festival in Vienna I talked about before, it was it was definitely interesting because we got to work with different conductors from Europe, so their perspective on the piece was very different, and it was interesting to see how their conducting style and their preferences for the same piece differ from the NJYS conductor, and just the environment was also very um, it was very different than being in New Jersey. So I liked how, like Zachary said, the architecture also inspired me a lot just by being around these old buildings and palaces. Was it just made me feel even more immersed in the music. So
Wonderful. Tell us also about the Baroque Performance Institute at Oberlin, because we're going to play just a little excerpt we have. We thought it was really interesting to feature. So tell us a little bit about that institute.
So yeah, that institute is well, I've obviously always had a love for early music, but that was the first time that I was able to actually play on the traditional instrument. So it was very difficult for me at first to get used to the angle of the violin and the tuning, but just being able to hear all these wonderful uh, musicians was inspiring for me as well. And so what we do in one day was each day we have a technique class and a master class. So our master class was with the faculty of different schools, so such as Marilyn McDonald, Cynthia Roberts, and Julie Andrzejewski. So they taught us. Well, most students were grad students, so they already knew how to play the Baroque violin. But for the high school students, they taught us how to play play the instrument for the first time. And we also had chamber music, which is the recording that I sent to you, and then we also had orchestra as well.
Wonderful. And so we have a little excerpt we're going to play. It's Telemann Concerto, or is it quartet? I wasn't quite sure.
Quartet.
Quartet. So it is for recorder, oboe, violin, cello, and harpsichord. Is that right?
Yes.
Take a look. Yeah, just a little excerpt. We have another video of Joanna that's coming up very soon. Tell us now about your role as a concertmeister, and pretend that we know nothing about it. So tell us what it is, what is your responsibilities are when you are chosen to be a concertmeister. Go ahead.
So there's definitely a lot of responsibility and I guess pressure to be concertmaster because not only do you have to lead your own section as the other principals do, but you also have to kind of be with the conductor at all times. Like you kind of have to know what they're thinking, basically. So it can be kind of difficult, but it's also a really great role. And I also get to communicate with the other principals as well. So making eye contact or like during the rehearsal discussing bowings or just what the conductor wants. So yeah, it's definitely a important role as with any seat in the orchestra.
Wonderful. Tell us now about the Clara Menace program at Menace School of Music. Go ahead.
So yes, that is the new name and kind of the reworked program of the honors program at Manus Prep. So it is, I guess its main goal is to, I guess, spread the love of music. So in order to apply for the clarinetist program, you have to write a little blurb about why you chose the piece and like what spoke out to you about the piece. So that is something that I definitely have to think about, because you can't just say, "Oh, my teacher told me that this would be a great piece for me." You have to actually understand like why you connect with that piece, and so it's definitely a it's how do I word this? It's just a great program to be in if you want to just take your music to the next level.
Wonderful. And the last question before we go to your gallery is tell us about you being a volunteer violin teacher.
So yeah, that has definitely been probably one of the most rewarding things I've done this year. Unfortunately, it was on Zoom because of the whole pandemic and that situation, but it was great to. I taught one, I think, fourth grader who never learned the violin before, and then one eighth grader who had some experience. So it was great for me to learn how to actually teach somebody to play the violin, because it's different when you know how to play it versus trying to explain to someone who doesn't really know what the violin is. So it was and they were just very wonderful to teach, and I think also it made me realize that in the future I definitely want to do something with teaching violin as well.
Wonderful. Okay, we're now going to go to Joanna's picture gallery. And the same as with Zachary, as we go through them, you tell us who you're with and what is the occasion. Let's go. Oh, that's so cute.
So that that is just a picture of me when I first started the violin. So as you can see, I was very happy about it, and I think my love of music has definitely continued. So yeah, there's nothing much to this picture except that it's just when I first learned how to hold the violin, and I have the little tapes on your bow and on the fingerboard to tell you where to put your fingers.
Great. Next.
So this is the Love Violin for Children USA end of the year concert that they have every year. So these are all the volunteer teachers. So some of us are high school students, and most of them are actually professional teachers who take time out of their day to come and teach these young musicians. And so it was really wonderful to see how so many people were really invested in music and just trying to share their love of it, because this organization is completely free of charge. So we all volunteer our time to teach, and the students also volunteer their own time to come and learn. So it shows, I guess, the power of people's love for music.
Wonderful. Next picture.
So that is a picture of me in orchestra. I really love playing in orchestra, and I believe this particular concert is when we played the Saison uh, Organ Symphony, which is probably one of my all-time favorite pieces ever. Not just for violin or for orchestra, but in general, because it's so beautiful, first of all, and when the organ first comes in, you can feel it all around you and like rumbling through the floor and into your bones and everything, and it's just an unforgettable experience, definitely.
Wonderful. Next.
So that is a picture of me at one of the master classes I did with Jaewon Kim. So I played the Mendelssohn Violin Concerto and the first movement, and I learned a lot from her, and it's definitely a different experience playing for one person versus playing for a whole audience. So because I know that she's looking at my playing with a critical eye, so I think it's definitely feels different to me, but it was very helpful for my playing. And after that, I went to go see her performance, and it was wonderful. So
Great.
So that's a picture of me and my sister at our annual violin concert with our teacher. She doesn't take lessons anymore because she's in college, but when she did, so I just wanted to include that because it's something that happens every year, so it's definitely a distinct memory for me. And because my sister is like my best friend, so
That's great.
playing violin together with her and like just hearing her practice when I'm not practicing is just definitely one of my things that I miss about her being at college.
Beautiful.
So that's another picture of us. And I wanted to include this because something that I really enjoy doing is going to museums because I find that historic architecture and pieces also inspire me with playing because I can see how different forms of creativity inform others because a lot of architecture does go hand in hand with different time periods of music. So it's just another one of my passions outside of playing the violin.
Beautiful.
And that is a another picture of me when I first started violin. I think this was at a music festival. I don't remember the name, but I do remember taking master classes there as well. So yeah,
Cute. Hmm.
and so this is one of the another one NJOI's concert in which I was concert master. I think this was last year where we played Marvin Hamlish's Anatomy of Peace, and it I guess it was just a different experience for me because, like I said before, being a concert master can definitely feel different in rehearsal, but also on stage it can be even more nerve-wracking. Um, Trying to just being worried that what if the orchestra something goes wrong or something, but yeah, it was definitely a great experience for me.
Wonderful.
So that is a picture with my quartet from last year. That was where we played the five folk songs in Counterpoint by Florence Price, and you can see that in front of us is the Harlem Quartet, who is watching us, and after we performed, they gave us many tips. And chamber music, although I don't have very much experience with it, is definitely one of my favorite places to be because you're playing with an ensemble, but you're also playing a solo at the same time. So you have to be both collaborative, but also show your individual personality as well, which is different from an orchestra. So that's why I love chamber music as well.
Wonderful.
So yeah, that is a picture of the video that um, you just saw of the BPI performance. So, like I said, playing the Baroque violin is very, very different from playing the modern violin, with just the way you have to hold the bow or just the sound quality. So I think it has definitely helped my modern playing because in Baroque violin you have to be very fluid because you don't have any chin rests. You can't rest really all the time, so you have to be able to move freely. So that has helped my violin playing to become also more fluid in turn.
Wonderful. I love hearing all about it. All right, we're moving on now to your Joanna's second video, which is Mendelssohn Violin Concerto Opus 64 in E minor. Take a look. Wonderful. Thank you so much, Joanna, for joining us. It's a
Thank
great
you.
pleasure to meet you, just as well as with Zach. So, last but not least, Nathan. Okay, questions for you. So, you are a Canadian. Tell us a little bit about growing up in Canada and starting your piano lessons there first before coming to New York.
Yes, so I was born in at the
You're freezing up a little bit.
Lotus. Oh, but it was actually a music class session at Lotus where we learned the piano keyboard. There were several piano keyboards situated around the classroom where I learned to read notes and I learned basic rhythm and it was a year later that I began my piano lessons and so I actually came to the U.S. when I was 7 years old moving to the Midwestern United States into Wisconsin and then it was at there, I continued my music studies with a local music teacher who was actually an accordionist who was a pianist, but he had piano skills to be having a full-time career as a piano teacher. And when I was 10 years old, I gave my first solo piano recital. I played an hour-long piano recital from memory, playing works such by Schubert, Bach, Beethoven, and Mozart, and it was a memorable experience. It was at this moment that I decided to make music my career, and that I began music studies with a local university piano professor who was from Venice. I had with two piano professors actually from a local university who were both from Venezuela, and I was studying with them for the next 5 years until I moved to New York City to begin studies in the pre-college division of Mannes College. And then it was when I was 18 years old that I not only won a prize, the Merit Prize in the Young Arts, but also I was admitted into the Manhattan School of Music, where I spent the next 6 years getting my bachelor and master of music degrees in the studio in piano performance as a student of Alexander Matutsky, who was a wonderful teacher. He has contributed so much to my development as a musician, as a person in the last 6 years alone. And yes, and in the last 6 years in the Manhattan School of Music, I've gotten so much experience learning all different types of music, preparing a large sum of repertoire, also learning pretty much all the solo piano works of Maurice Ravel. And I also had the chance to play with orchestra and play in a Baroque opera ensemble, learn the harpsichord, and study so many interesting things. It was these 6 years of the Manhattan School of Music were the most transformative, and I'm super grateful to have had the chance to study at such an incredible institution. And I would say that I've had a very interesting life so far in living in three places and studying with different teachers and performing across the U.S. and across Europe. And it's just been an amazing journey, and I'm very thankful for that.
Tell us a little bit about the Six Miami Music Festival where you won the competition and performed the Liszt Concerto. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, I was awarded a full scholarship to the Miami Music Festival 2018. June 2018, along with a couple of my friends and along with my professor Alexander Matutskin. Uh, it was a 3 week music festival where we had lessons with each of the five teachers, and it was at the end of the festival that it's half of the festival participants. There are in total there are around 23ish. Around half of them, around 10 of them, participating in the concerto competition. There were 2 rounds. There were 10 of us in the first round, and then there were 5 finalists. I was one of them, and they selected 3 of the finalists, including myself, to be playing with the Miami Music Festival Symphony Orchestra. And in July, I had the chance to play the entire concerto, all 4 movements, with the Festival Symphony Orchestra. It was an incredible opportunity to be working alongside these wonderful musicians, and it was interesting that the conductor himself was from Wisconsin. I was from Wisconsin, as was the concertmaster. There were 3 Wisconsinites taking the stage that night, and
Great.
it was just a wonderful, exciting experience, just playing the Liszt Concerto with orchestra, and as I mentioned earlier on, it was one of those performances where I just simply felt on. I was simply just turned on that evening. I was just simply able to, although I was feeling a little bit uncomfortable at the beginning, as I went through the first moon, I just became more and more, got more and more into the music. And by the second moon, I was completely immersed in it. And the excitement on stage, it worked so much in my favor that allowed me to give a much more charismatic performance than what I gave normally in the practice room or during lessons or during the competition. It was just a wonderful experience, and one of the most memorable experiences of my life.
Wonderful. Let's go to Nathan's gallery. You tell us about each picture as we go along.
Mm-hmm. So this is from my recent graduation ceremony. This was my graduation day from the Manhattan School of Music with my parents. And just after the ceremony, me holding my diploma and also some flowers and wearing my graduation gown. It was a memorable day. After 6 years of hard work, it was truly an awesome moment because I unfortunately had to I didn't get the chance to attend my undergraduate ceremony in person because of the pandemic, and it was all online, which kind of ruined the whole purpose. And it was just a wonderful experience. It was a wonderful day to be able to attend my graduation ceremony for my master's in person.
Are there any musicians in your family?
No, but my parents have been wonderfully supportive. I owe them everything. They've helped. They've spent so much time and money, of course, on lessons, on festivals, on travels and studies, and I just couldn't thank them enough. And as for other musicians, my younger brother, who recently graduated from Harvard, around 2 weeks after my graduate from MSM, he played clarinet when he was younger. He also used to play the piano and the accordion, but he was around when he was 10 years old that he started with clarinet. He played the clarinet for several years. He joined the Milwaukee Youth Symphony Orchestra as a clarinetist, and he also took clarinet lessons for a couple of years after our move to New York City. So yes, but after he started university studies at Harvard, he dropped it, and he's graduated. He's found work, and I'm super happy for him. He was a great musician too. He was a great clarinetist.
Wonderful. Next picture.
Oh yes, this is a photo courtesy of one of my friends, Andrew Rumsey, from Down Under, from Australia, and this photo was taken by him when on the night of my performance with the Miami Music Festival Symphony Orchestra, Lotus Concerto No. 1. I believe this was after the last note and after the conductor's cut off, and my hands were flung into the air. It was a wonderful experience. It was a wonderful night. It was just unforgettable to be working with these wonderful musicians on the stage just to play this amazing piece.
Wonderful. Okay, next.
This was when I was just before my 17th birthday. This was in early March 2015, just before my 17th birthday, when I was playing at Carnegie Hall as one of the winners of the Rondo Vanguard Division. It was a super exciting experience. It was my first time playing at Weill Hall. I remember playing the Mendelssohn D minor variations as well as the Variations Sérieuses, and as well as 2 Rotovar etudes. It was an awesome experience.
Great. Next picture. Mm-hmm.
This is one of my photos that I received just recently in my graduation gown. This was taken on my graduation day as I was one of the earliest to arrive. Was one of the first students to arrive at the church, at Riverside Church, located just next to MSM, and I had the opportunity to have my photo taken. A couple of my in my graduation gown and holding my diploma. It was just a wonderful day. I'm super happy to have had these photos.
Right.
And this is with obviously I'm on the right, and in the center is my teacher, Professor Alexander Matutskin. On the left is one of my colleagues, Kunyu Liu, who was also my chamber music partner for this past semester. And just several hours after this photo was taken, I had my last performance at Manhattan School of Music, where she and I, this young woman and I, we played the Mozart D major piano sonata for 2 pianos, Kurzweil 448. It was all through moves. It was a super wonderful experience to be working with her, and it was. And again, as I mentioned, Professor Alexander Matutskin has been a wonderful source of support for me in these past 6 years. He's just an amazing pedagogue, an amazing pianist.
Yeah, definitely.
And this was my graduation. This was just after the graduation ceremony. It's taken in front of the Manhattan School of Music, and this was a proud moment, one of the proudest moments of my life. Finally finishing 6 years of studies, holding my diploma in a boat and some flowers, and in my graduation gown.
Great.
This was when I was 14 years old, in fact, and this was when in December 2012, when I was 14 years old, just 3 months away from turning 15, and I played at All Bach recital. I was sharing the stage at Joyce Parker Productions, where I had given my first solo recital. Actually, let me tell you a little bit about the backstory. I played my first solo recital ever at Joyce Parker Productions when I was 10 years old, and since then I have collaborated with her numerous times. She's invited me back to play recitals numerous times. This was one of them when I was 14 years old at the end of 2012, where I was sharing the stage with them. The second half was played by violinists or violists from the Milwaukee Symphony Orchestra, and I was playing this all Bach program. I was playing among the pieces I played was the Bach Fantasy in C minor, the Bach Toccata in C minor, BWV 911, as well as the Bach Partita in B flat major, and it was a wonderful experience to be able to play an all Bach recital.
Great.
And this was not taken by me. This was taken by my friend Adam Clifford. He's the one sprawled on the piano. It was taken on his phone, in fact, not by himself, by Adam himself. He's the one sprawled on the piano. And this is obviously I'm on the far right, and this is me with a couple of my friends and fellow participants, fellow pianists in the Miami Music Festival Piano Institute of 2018. This was such a memorable experience, and unfortunately, this was the second to last time the Piano Institute would be held, because after the 2019 season, it was abolished. But it was a super memorable experience meeting all these wonderful young musicians, and being able to spend 3 weeks with them, and eventually performing the Liszt Concerto with the orchestra. It was just a wonderful experience.
Great.
This was taken last year in Tignes, France. I was participating in the Music Alps in Tignes, France. This photo was taken in Tignes is a ski city. It was a ski resort located in the French Alps, and I remember taking the bus ride to there from the Chambéry station, and it took us about 2 hours to climb up the mountains, and up there was so much colder and so much drier than in the rest of France. And this was the student recital at the end of the program, and I had the chance of playing the Mozart Piano Sonata, the first movement in C major, Herschel 330 on stage at Tignes Espace, and that's the piece I'll be performing in the masterclass on August 9th.
Wonderful. Okay, that is the last photo that we have for Nathan, and we're going to proceed with his next video that we have of playing Beethoven Opus 106. Take a look.
This was for my graduation recital, my undergraduate recital, and just 2 years ago.
Thank you so much, Nathan, and thank you so
That
much
was the
to.
recital where I actually played the full Liszt sonata and the Hammerklavier sonata. And I played the Liszt in the first half and the Beethoven in the second half. It was an enormous program, and I was just I before the recital I was nervous. I thought whether I would even survive, but well, I survived it.
Clearly. Yes, thank you so much, all three of you, for participating, Zachary, Joanna, and Nathan. I truly enjoyed speaking with you and hearing you open your heart to me and to obviously all the listeners. And we wish you all, best accomplishments and all your endeavors. And thank you again so much for joining us today. So long. Thank you all for watching.